everyone, and welcome to our one-shot number 30 here. We have a fun one lined up for you people that love the show called The Boys. You know, actually, at the time of this recording, they're actually getting ready. I think it's in like a week or something. Gen X is coming out, if I'm correct, right?
Oh, yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Or, sorry, Gen V, not Gen X. Sorry, my
Gen
bad.
V, Gen X.
Gen V.
So, yes.
Everyone knew what I meant. I think that's dropping very soon. So this is kind of timely, I guess? Yeah, it comes out September 17th. We're recording this in August. Garth Ennis, known for writing The Boys, but before that, he had a little series at DC that actually I think is underrated, and to be honest, would fit in with whatever James Gunn is doing with the DCU. I would love to see an adaptation of Hitman. From what I've seen and from what I've heard of Hitman, I would like to see James Gunn try to adapt it. I feel like it's right up his alley, especially after watching Peacemaker Season 2 so far. It is right up his alley. So we're going to be looking at a combo book here, and this is going to be interesting because there's some different characterizations of characters in this book. It is JLA and Hitman. For people who don't know, real quick, Hitman is a contract killer from DC. From DC. Obviously, he's in DC. From Gotham City. He kills the bad guys. He's kind of like a Punisher, but with much more of a Billy Butcher attitude. Very I don't give a fuck attitude. He doesn't necessarily hate heroes. Kinda. I mean, he kind of does. But he's not like super hating where he's trying to murder them all. You know what I mean? He's going after the bad guys.
Irish or Irish American at least.
Yes.
But although he speaks very much in Irish. Yeah, he speaks very much in Irish patois, like an Irish accent.
Yes, which I actually didn't know when reading this. By the way, it was cool opening this, and the first thing I'm met with is a giant ad for the new season of Smallville on DVD, and it was the season where the Justice League showed up. So I was like, oh, and I want to watch Smallville now.
Hitman, by the way, Gabe Zag would love this. His first appearance was in Demon Annual number 2.
Yes. My dad fucking loves Demon, man. That's like his number 4.
Right.
And then it's Rom Space Knight right after that. And then it's Micronauts. He loves Micronauts, too. So, we start off this issue here in issue 1, and we see a man in a suit talking to a person named Mr. Kirby, and we find out that this is Clark Kent. This Kirby guy, he's trying to get an interview, and he asks him, he goes, Mr. Kent, okay, is it Monahan?
Yeah, I can't figure that out.
I can never tell.
I was saying Monahan like in my head.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, too, in my head, but I was like, I don't know if that's right, but it's also easy to pronounce that way. So, I'm going to keep saying Tommy Monahan. So he's questioning Clark Kent, and because everyone knows Clark Kent's best friend is Superman, and he's basically like his liaisons. He'll talk for Superman to press.
Not the same person, by the way.
They're not the same person, but he's his best friend that knows every little detail.
Exactly.
So he asks him, he goes, does that name sound familiar? And Clark stops, and he turns around, and in Clark Kent way, he smiles and goes, well, I guess it's a little too late for me to say no, obviously from that reaction. And he goes, well, I'm relieved to hear that, Mr. Kent. And he goes, you know, I've met him a few times. And we get the rundown here of this. And we find out this reporter was in a bar. And in that bar, there was a picture of all these people and family and friends. And there was one of Tommy Monahan with a bunch of his, his mates. All the guys he drinks with at the bar. And behind that was a picture of Superman. And it says, to the boys at Noonan's, which is the name of the bar, Superman, signed by him. And this guy says, you know, there's a lot of people that try to copy Superman stuff, but I've seen Superman sign things, and I know that autograph was either just a really good copy or it was the real thing. And he goes, well, how did that get there? And he says, well, Superman gave it to him, the signature. And we find out that Superman met him by chance after a big otherworldly space thing happened. It was a rescue mission that went wrong, and Superman was kind of doubting himself. And he went to Tommy for assistance, and he kind of gave him some advice that really stuck with him. And then Clark looks to the side, and this guy's questioning him. He's hammering him with questions. And Clark looks to the side, and he kind of questions this guy now. They're kind of questioning each other. Clark's like, you know, I understand you, you understand me. We're on the same page. And he goes, I'm going to have you put this on record, because this is something that needs to be out there. Superman can't confess it, but I'll do it for him. This is how Tommy Monahan and Superman met. And that signature ended up on that wall. By the way, chat, I'm going to tell you something. There is a huge spoiler at the end of issue 2 for Hitman. That I did not know was there. I'm not mad about it, but it just caught me off guard.
Same.
We find out it was a long time ago. We see Green Lantern flying out from the big space station that the JLA is in. And Superman's flying in. He's questioning the Flash of, like, what he said to Green Lantern because he's obviously, like, upset. And we found out that the Flash is kind of an asshole to Green Lantern in this. He, like, kind of talks down to Green Lantern and calls him, like, a kid. And I'm like, isn't this Wally West? Aren't they, like, the same age?
I just want to put this on record. Don't really like the characterization of Flash. Don't even really like how the Flash is drawn by John McCrea here.
But you want to know
He looks really dorky.
You know what's gonna make you go, holy shit? Look at that. If you look at the first picture of when, like, Superman's flying down where he is, it looks like Dark Knight 3 Flash by Frank Miller. Like the really skinny, like, ankles and the weirdly shaped proportions and, like, the big head.
It kind of does.
And McCrea actually does a lot of Frank Miller isms in this that I'll point out as we go through. Superman, honestly, the best characterization in this book is Superman. So Superman,
out of all the superheroes, yeah, by far.
Yeah, Superman, and I would even say Green Lantern. Like, I feel like those are the two, and this was like, okay, I actually like these characters, so I'm gonna write them how they should be. Spoiler alert, everyone's kind of an asshole in this book. As you get with later on in The Boys really turned up to 100. But, so he comes down, he questions them, and finds out what's being wrong. Like, what's your problem, dude? He's like, you're being cold to him. And Flash is like, listen, he's been on this team long enough. He needs to stop fucking up. Like, you should hear what Batman said to him. He's like, Batman was like, listen, if you can't make cool things with your ring, basically, why do you even have it? Like, who says that? Shut up, Batman. What do you do? Fuck you. You have, like, money. That's all you have. All right? Shut up. So we find out he kind of questions them, and we see Wonder Woman's there with Batman. By the way, my favorite era of Batman, because I love the blue and gray suit. He asks him, he's like, why is he even out there flying around? And we find out there's this NASA ship that it's a NASA probe coming back from the edge of the solar system. But for some reason, the crew is like reporting of like a malfunction with the reactor there. And they're being asked to be put with the Justice League instead of like just like landing nowhere or crash landing somewhere. And they're sending Green Lantern out to see kind of, they just get a weird feeling about it. And they're having him kind of just scope it out. As it's going out there, they mentioned something called the Jaeger, I think it's pronounced, or Jaeger.
The Jaeger,
Jaeger. And
Something
Superman's pretty worried about what's going on with this because he just had that experience with that last, otherworldly ship like exploding. So he's like, we should probably like stay on top of this, guys, right? And then Batman's like, relax. And he's like, well, Superman's like, well, I want to have a word with you about something. And Batman's like, wait. And then this is where we find out Kyle Rayner's like, hey, this is like weird. I'm getting scans of like really weird things. I don't know if I should like send this to you, but I will. And then as he's scanning it and Batman's reading the scans, he just says, get the hell away from that ship. Green Lantern, get the fuck away from that ship right now. And then it cuts to Gotham City. And honestly, these parts of the book, I was like giggling at a lot of these parts of the book. The best character in this book, by the way, is Hitman. I want to say that now. Me personally, I think he was the best part of this book. I don't know about you.
Well, gee, I wonder why. Is it because Garth Ennis doesn't like writing superheroes? Is that why?
It's funny, and it's like when he does write a superhero well, he does it well. Like Superman's written in a very Superman way in this, like caring about every little detail in life being saved. Like that's he writes Superman well in this, but like that's it.
I was gonna say because I feel like everyone else is just kind of just in the background, to be honest.
Everyone else fits in the Boys universe.
This is a Hitman and Superman story more than a Hitman and JLA story.
Yeah, it literally. So this is where we see it's like a really dingy part of Gotham, aka all of Gotham, and we see.
Credit to John McCrea though. I actually kind of like his depiction and his drawings of Gotham.
Yeah,
like
it's
the
like
skyline
slums,
and everything
yeah.
like that. We get like a really cool shot here of Tommy kind of like leaning over like a balcony.
Oh my god, that's
Gotham.
Like if without the words, if I could find a way to get this panel without the words, it's wallpaper worthy. It looks really fucking cool.
Yeah, I really like how this looks.
So we find out Tommy is being targeted by these like gangsters in Gotham, and they're talking about they're gonna meet up and get him. They're gonna kill him. We're getting Tommy. He's got $1 million on his head, and we're gonna get it. And then the whole time,
but specifically by the Italians.
Yeah, specifically by the Italians. They have the $1 million on his head. But as they're saying that, they don't know he's outside, and he's just smirking as he's listening to them. And these guys, this is where they start arguing. They're like, who died and left you, King? Because they just start arguing with each other. And then they start arguing about who was a better military. So they're arguing, they're like, Delta, Navy SEALs, SAS, Spetsnaz. Like, they're arguing about it back and forth. And then as they're arguing, a, like, satchel gets thrown in the window, and it says, Candygram from Mongo. And then as it cuts to the next panel, the fucking room explodes as Tommy's whistling, and he pulls out his phone, and he's like, hey, Timmy, hey, yeah, it's Tommy. Yeah, I got them. And then he turns around and goes, no, yeah, really, yeah, those guys, yeah, they would have chopped me up in the dog food. Yeah, they really put up a fight. And he's looking back, and the room is on fire, and everyone's, like, burning. And there's, like, people just, like, laying on the ground, like, barely staying alive. And then as he turns around, he goes, and he goes, 2 for flinching, and then shoots the guy in the head dead. And I was like, yeah, Hitman's cool. I haven't read a Hitman yet. This is like my first entrance to Hitman. I was like, yeah. So I was like, that was cool. So then it cuts back here, and Kyle Rayner rightfully says, oh, dude, that's so gross. And it's these weird creatures. And he goes, what are they? And then Superman goes, they're before your time. And oh my God, they fucking mention it. And he's like, what is going on right now? And they mentioned the Bloodline story. Holy shit. Do you remember the Bloodlines arc that went on for like ever in the 90s? I've heard of it.
So
I never read it.
I was going to say, I haven't read it, but I heard it was bad.
Yeah, I heard it's horrible. So what they're
like
trying...
any seasoned comic book reader, I feel like most of them would say, yeah, I remember the Bloodline storyline, and it was bad. Because it just went on forever, and it was, like, very meaningless.
And it's kind of funny, Batman says, he goes, the Bloodline incident. Like, we don't talk about it. And he tells us, like, you know, they were basically just, like, parasites from space. They're very strong, very hostile, and very deadly. They never really did find out where they came from at the end of the day. They came, they, like, took over people's bodies. Some people died. Some people survived after. But you find out that Rayner's like, so those are the things that are on the probe that I just scanned? And Superman's like, well, not fully yet. I don't think they're fully grown. And he goes, I don't even think there'd be room on the NASA probe for them to be there because they're just so big. And Wonder Woman's a little worried. She's like, yeah, the crew's no longer responding to the calls, so this isn't looking good. The Flash, in his heroic way, is like, we don't have to, like, deal with them, right? And then Batman's like, well, we're going to need at least one survivor if we want to, like, fix this. And then as he's saying that, he's like, wait a minute. And then Superman's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to go kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Be right back. So he leaves the ship, and we cut to Noonan's, the bar. I want to hang out at this bar. It looks like everyone's having a fun time.
I can't figure out how to pronounce it. Even I'm doing it. Is it Noonan's or Noonan's?
That sounded, by the way, that sounded Canadian as hell. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't know how to pronounce it, eh?
That was like accidentally like stereotypical Canadian.
It was, yeah. Like I don't know if it's Noonan's or Noonan's. I don't know.
I was saying Noonan's, but that could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll just say Noonan's for the rest of the book.
So we get the view of this bar, and they're like, "Hey, long time no see." And this is where we see Hitman walking in, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" It's basically just like, "Hey, what up, everybody?" And there's this weird shit here. So it says,
"This is Gabe. This is Cheers. This is Garth Ennis' version of Cheers."
This is yeah. So he goes, "Tell me about it. So what's going on with you boys?" And this guy just goes, "Shooting people for money." And then we see this drunk dude. He goes, "Kicking all the butts, jelly ain't got a schnotzniz for." He's just drunk on the table. And this one guy goes, "I made friends with a dog." And then one guy goes, "I am Bader." And he's like, you know, he really is Bader. Let's have a drink to that. Like, what's happening? And
Garth Ennis, by the way, really wants to remind you that he loves drinking.
Yes.
Because almost every comic book he's written... Punisher's always at a bar. Kicking someone's ass. Like, he's always at a bar doing something.
I feel
so
like
it doesn't surprise me that Hitman is here, too.
Yeah, I feel like this was his way of being like, guys, I could write, like, a Punisher book.
Yeah, because he wrote this way before Punisher.
Yeah. So, they're finding out. They're like, "Hey, did you ever find out?" He goes, "Hey, Sean, before I forget, can you send a case over of beer to Timmy the Fish? That's who we called on the phone earlier. He goes, oh yeah, how'd that thing go anyway? He goes, yeah, no, it went great. And then some guy goes, he does business with the ferretist, probably heard something, like, ooh. And then this is the craziest line I've ever read in a comic book. He goes, this is right out of The Boys. He goes, I ever tell you Timmy the fish made cheese out of his girlfriend's breast milk? And he goes, oh, shut up. And he goes, no, swear to God. And he goes, well, why would anyone? He goes, hey, listen, he said he got curious. You know Timmy, he's always tinkering with something or other. And then this other guy goes, well, did he say how it tasted? And I was like, what? And Hitman's like, yo, you're buying this story? He's like, listen, hey, stranger things have happened. You vomited on Batman once. And he goes, yeah, but I didn't make cheese out of it. And then some dude goes, you puked on Batman? And then it puts a little note, Hitman #1. You can see that happen. And this is where, dude, it gets off the wall here. He's like, listen, it's a long story. I'm not even going to get into it. And then the drunk dude's going, in brightest day and darkest night, no evil shall escape my sight. And he goes, you doing okay down there, six-pack? So they asked him, like, hey, is our boy Nat joining us? And he goes, hey, he ought to be. He keeps talking about he's hanging out with this new hot girl he's with. And he's like, yo, let's see, man. She might be smoking. And he goes, oh, here's Nat. And Nat walks in. And
this is classic Garth Ennis humor right here. Classic Garth Ennis humor. This is straight out of Preacher. This is Art's face. This is Art's face.
Yeah, dude. Nat walks in with his girlfriend from the neck down, supermodel body, killer body, with the head of an elephant. What?
Literal.
Oh,
literal elephant head.
Like trunk and everything. And she goes, oh, what a great place. And Nat looks at the dude and goes, what are you looking at? He goes, mind your business, you bum. And then she goes, oh, would you get me a martini? I gotta go powder my nose. And some dude walks up. He goes, that's a lot of powder. And he goes, hey, say something. He's like, yo, shut the fuck up. Don't be talking about her. And he stares the guy down. He looks at everyone all angry. And then he puts his hands in his face. And he's like, oh, man, dude, she didn't always look like this.
But the best part is Tommy goes, she seems real nice.
And he goes, listen, like about 3 weeks ago, like they were conducting tests at the science lab she works at. She's a secretary. They didn't put the sign up on the door. They were trying to like teleport an elephant from one room to the next. They didn't put a sign up. And when she walked in, it like fucked everything up. And then she now has an elephant head. I was like, what? And then he goes, where was this? And he goes, the research facility. Remember Zombie Night at the Gotham Aquarium? The undead baby seals? And he goes, oh, yeah. Like, this is just an everyday thing. And he goes, but listen, like, you don't just, like, drop someone because, like, if they get, like, a burned face or something, like, you love them, right? And then as he's, like, trying to figure it out, Hitman's a good friend. He's like, hey, she's coming back. Like, don't say anything. And he's like, hey, I know you got a lot on your plate right now with this situation, but just so you know, we still got a job later to do tonight. Can I rely on you to be there? And he's like, well, just let me take her home, and then I'll meet you outside my house at 3. And then she goes, oh, he's been expecting to take me here all week. Who's who? She's all excited, but it's funny because you see Hitman smiling like he's laughing. Like, oh, this is going to be fun. Yeah. So he's outside, and he's trying to call Nat, and he's not picking up the phone. And he's like, bro, 2 hours. I've been waiting for 2 hours. He walks up to the elevator, says out of order, and he's like, oh. So now he has to walk up the steps, and he goes to knock on the door, and he goes, you lazy donut-eating son of a, and then you hear, the thing with the trunk. Do the thing with the trunk. Yeah. I was like, bro, I literally watched someone in The Boys get sucked off by an octopus. It never changes, bro.
I love how the next panel is Tommy on the stairs, and he's kind of got this like,
and he's sweating.
Face to him.
You see his sweat.
Yeah, he's sweating. He's like, oh, what the hell?
And then as he's running away from this horrible sight he just heard, you hear Monahan, and he's like, huh? Oh, and he gets picked up here, and he gets picked up to his feet, and he goes, if you go for your guns, I'll break your arms. If you even look like throwing up, I'll break them both. Clear? And it's Batman hanging upside down like a bat, which I think is cool. That was cool. He goes,
yeah, I like this a lot, actually. This is cool.
And he goes, well, what about if I just hang here and wet my pants? And Batman goes, that'll be fine. So then it cuts back to Superman talking to Mr. Kirby here, and he's like, what did happen when they first met? And he goes, let's just say Mr. Monahan made the list. Let's not get into the details of this. And Batman's very experienced with him, but they needed a sample of someone that was infected before in the past. So when they go into the to the big hangar in space, Hitman goes, "Holy mother loving God Almighty, I'm on the moon!" And Flash is like, "Who the fuck is this?" And Green Lantern's like, "Oh no!" And he turns around, he's covering his face, and he goes, "Hey, you're the Flash, and you're Wonder Woman. Hey, Tommy Monahan at your service. Glad to meet you."
By the way, I really like that first panel where Tom is like, I'm on the moon.
Yeah.
You see, like, Wonder Woman's got, like, a coffee tray.
Yeah, and they all have their logos.
And Green Lantern is playing with a yo-yo that he made, like, from his ring.
That is so
From
awesome.
his ring, which I think that's a really cool touch.
And you could see his face. He's clenched. He's like, "Oh, no." And then you hear him go, "Green." And then he goes, "Oh, no." He goes, "My old buddy, how long has it been?" And he's like, he goes, "Hey, you remember when we teamed up to take down those CIA guys? Oh, man, the looks on their faces. Good times." And it shows Hitman number 11 through 12. And he's like, "Guys, wait a minute." And Batman's like, "You worked with him?" He's like, "Well, it's not that easy." And he's like, "You worked with him. You either did or you didn't." And he's like, "But listen, there were like these bad guys that need to be taken down." He's like, "Do you know what he does for a living?" And he's like, "Dude, it's Gotham. No one's good in Gotham." Like, I needed help. He helped. And that was that. That's just how it is. He goes, it was just all confusing. And he, like, pours his heart out to Batman, and he goes, "Are you finished?" I was like, yo, damn. He was like, "You didn't think about this for 1 second, the implications of working with a criminal who murders people for a living? What is wrong with you?" He goes, "Do you not have a moral ground? You're a disgrace to that ring. You have no reason to ever wear that ring." And then as he's like talking about like moral high grounds and how he doesn't deserve to have that ring because he associates with Tommy Monahan, you hear, "Tommy? Tommy Monahan, is that you?" And it's Superman.
Superman walks in with like this cheese-eating grin, like he's absolutely cheesing. He's like, "Tommy, my old friend."
And he walks in, he shakes Tommy's hand. He's like, "Man, you've been doing good. How's Earth going? Like, what are you doing here, of all things?" And then they cut to Batman, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And they're just catching up, and then he looks at Green Lantern, who has a shit-eating grin on his face with his arms crossed, like, "You gonna talk to Superman about moral high grounds?" And so they're, like, catching up, and Green Lantern smiles. He goes, "Hey, yo, Superman, sorry to interrupt, but Batman wants to talk to you about some moral implications." And he just goes, "He's an assassin." And Superman's like, "What?" He's like, "Monahan, he's a hired gun. He kills people for money. That's what he does." And then Monahan goes, "Well, when you put it like that, you make me sound bad." Like, it's not, not the whole story. And he outlined it here.
It sound better.
And he goes, "Listen," he goes, "I got a rule." He was like, "I don't just kill anybody." He goes, "I kill bad guys. If you see me in front of you, you're not going to be seeing heaven after you're done with me. That's the type of people I go after. It's not good people. You know, I'm like, I have a morals." And Superman looks a little concerned here then, after he hears about the murdering. And he's like, "What were you doing on that rooftop then?" And he's like, and then it cuts to him getting injected very violently with a needle by the Flash. He's like, "What the hell is your problem?"
This like comically large needle, by the way. It's huge.
Ginormous, dude. Look how much blood he's taking out of his arm.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, sorry. Was that too hard?" I'm like, "Fuck you, Flash. Wally, you suck, dude." This guy's an asshole. He's like, "You took advantage of Superman's good nature." He goes, "I imagine he's feeling quite upset." He's like, "I didn't mean to. I was on the top of the hotel, and he just popped up out of nowhere, and he seemed like he needed just, like, some advice, and that's what I was there for." He's like, "Oh, so you deceived him?" He's like, "No, I didn't mean to. Like, if that's the case, I didn't mean to. I was just trying to be there for him." He's like, "What are your powers anyway?" And he's like, "I can see through stuff, and I can read people's minds, but not very well, because then I'll get a migraine." And he goes, "Everything of practicing, learning a little focus, maybe improve things that way." He's like, "Yeah, but there's always something on TV."
That's so real, man. That's so real.
And he's like, "Also, why the fuck were you?" He goes, "Why me? Why are you guys coming after me?" He's like, "The other Bloodlines guys got superpowers also after they got infected. Why am I special? Call one of them up." And Flash is like, "Dude, don't even get me started about them." And Green Lantern's like, "Yeah, those guys are lame. Because, like, they either, like, died or didn't know what they were doing." And I was like, that's a little mean. And the Flash is basically like, "They're not as great as us, so they died, so they're not worth it." That's basically what he says. I was like, that's a little mean.
It feels a little egotistical.
Yeah. And then
very kind of like out of character.
Yeah, and he was like, Batman probably just consider you the lesser of two evils. And he goes, charming, I must say. And he points at Green Lantern, he goes, hey, you know how to make a fire with that thing? Just like a little one? He goes, yeah, of course. And he lights up a little fire, and Tommy lights his cigarette on it. And Batman's like, hey, there's no smoke in here. And he was like, don't try to frighten me, Lord Voldemort, he was going to call him. And he goes, shut up. He's like an angry dad grabbing the cigarette and crushing it in his hand.
I really enjoy these I guess you would call them shots or silhouettes of like Batman.
Yeah,
that
it looks
John McCrea does. Like, yeah, Batman looks really intimidating.
I like
this
that
comic.
even in places with light, though, he's like dark and brooding. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, because he manages to find the shadow. You know what I mean? In every room.
And this is where we find out that the blood actually in Tommy's body doesn't match what's on the NASA probe. And Batman's like, what do you mean? That can't be right. Like, they're the parasites. And he's like, well, the blood cells that he's carrying are kind of like inert. Like, they're done already. They've been in his blood. They're not alive. But the ones on the ship are, like, mutated. Like, they're stronger almost. And Flash is like, shit. Yeah, much stronger. That's what I'm scared of. And they're talking about all this stuff. And he's like, oh, my God, the White House is going to fucking go crazy. Because now, like, their NASA troops are, like, infected with, like, this disease. Who knows if it's, like, contagious? Like, we can't get them around us. Now they're on their way here. We can't, like, stop them because they're sending them over. Like, this is a tough situation. Now we're dealing with, like, the U.S. government. It's getting all messy. And as they're trying to figure this out, Tommy's like, so, like, is this a bad time to ask where the bathroom is?
It's a bad time to ask the way to the John.
Yeah. And I will say here, I don't know if it's just me, but this image of Wonder Woman and Superman's a great image. It's very Ed McGuinness. Like the big hulking body parts on them, like especially the ginormous gauntlets on Diana. That's how Ed always drew them, going to like her elbow. Which I thought was cool.
Gotta say, I like the way that John McCrea draws a Superman overall.
Yeah.
In this comic, like it's really nice. Wonder Woman looks very she looks good. I don't really have like a huge problem with how Wonder Woman looks. She looks very boxy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like a very like very like not thick, but I don't know, like the line work seems very boxy.
But I will say this characterization I'm about to explain wasn't a big fan of. Because he's explaining to her. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you mean like the characterization like of Wonder Woman or Superman?
Of Wonder Woman, which he's gonna like how this conversation's gonna go, because Superman is like trying to explain to her. He's like, listen, when the Jaeger malfunction happened, he goes, it wasn't enough. I didn't get there enough time. Like everything got screwed up. And he goes, the only trouble was I missed one of them, and I should have seen them, and I should have saved them. And they show him talking to the guy, and the guy was like scared for his life, begging for Superman. He goes, and I couldn't save him in time. Like I saved everybody but him, and that weighed on him. And he pours this out, and she goes, and he goes, well, and I was having a good deal of trouble with it, and Tommy helped me. He was just there at the right time. And she's like, how? And he goes, well, we talked about it. Like we talked about our feelings, and like. He told me that, I'll read what he said, Heroes. It wasn't really to do with the incident itself. I don't quite recall how we got into the subject, but it was what he had to say about being an American, about the promise and the hope of it, about doing what you can to help, which I know Superman was never like Mr. America, so but like the message I think is a good message, you know what I mean, of doing what you can to help someone as much as you can. You're not going to save everybody, but you can save a lot of people.
I just want to say, I fucking hate how Garth wrote Wonder Woman in this comic.
Me too.
Not... Like, I love Wonder Woman as a character. I really do. I don't like the way that Garth wrote her in this comic.
This next part pisses me off because he's explaining to her perfectly why all he did was talk to Tommy. That's all he did. And then he goes, there was something about, like, what he told me that he believed, which made me feel better because he believed it. And then Wonder Woman just goes, he's an assassin. And he goes, okay, but he believed in what he said. Like, he has a good heart. And she goes, he's an assassin. That's what she goes, that's the beginning and the end of the debate. Your empathy, however, is you identify with him. It does not reflect well on you as a warrior. And Superman's like, I'm not a warrior. I've never been a warrior.
Garth uses that a lot.
Yeah.
Where he'll say like, "Oh, we're warriors," or "We're this," or "We're that." He uses warrior a lot in this comic book. It's strange.
And I like that Superman's like, I'm not that. He goes, okay. What if I was a warrior? He goes, what am I gonna be tomorrow? A crusader? Someone that's trying to spit their holy quest or sacred destiny? He's like, no. He goes, that's how trouble starts. He goes, I'm not a warrior. And she's like, well, if you're not a warrior, what are you? He's like, I'm just someone that's just trying to get by. Like, I'm just like anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, I have feelings, basically, he says. He goes, I'm someone who does what he can. Aren't we all? And then she just looks at him with this, like, bitchy face and goes, we'll have to agree to disagree on this. And then walks away from him. What is happening? I was like, what? Why is she such an asshole? Diana, you kill people, too. You kill people a lot. Your whole planet is full of warriors that murder people. Why is it an issue when he kills bad guys? That's literally what you do.
This is my biggest gripe with the book is Wonder Woman's characterization.
If anyone could understand
this
Tommy, it's Wonder Woman. Yeah, because Wonder Woman kills. She stabs. She has a sword. She stabs people. All right. She went to wars in the McCrea. All right. Like what?
But hey, listen, it's asking for a lot that Garth Ennis even knows. Like.
Yeah.
What Wonder Woman is because he hates superheroes.
You know who I could see having that conversation like that? Batman. He's writing everyone like Batman. The Batman being like, no, he kills. Hard stop. Hard no. That makes sense for Batman. I don't think for anybody else, though.
But that's the problem, is he's taking Batman's moral code and he's putting it on everyone.
Yeah, which I was like, okay. But this scene was funnier because after that big, deep, emotional scene, we see the space shuttle. It's huge. And Tommy goes, man, what a hike just to get to the crapper. He goes, and mind you, I guess I'd want to be a distance away if Aquaman had been eating gumbo or something. And then he looks around, it's empty. And he goes in his pocket, he goes, oh, shit. How can I not? He pulls out a Sharpie. I'm like, what is he doing? So then it cuts back, and they're arguing right now. And Superman's like, listen, guys, like, we can't ignore these requests to save these guys. We have to at least try to save. We can't just, like, leave them in space. And Batman's like, no, there's creatures on there. It's going to create problems. People are going to die if we do this. This is not good. It's going to be dangerous for us. And Superman's like, I don't care if it's dangerous for us. We need to help these people. What are you talking about, Batman? I like that Superman kind of has, like, he's kind of like a third person reading this. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, we need to help these people. Like, we're heroes. He goes, we can't leave them stranded out there. He goes, think about it. Just think about it for a moment. He goes, there's a dozen men and women completely helpless, facing the prospect of dying in space. And then she's like, Wonder Woman butts in. She's like, you're letting the Jaeger situation speak to you right now. And good on Superman, because then he looks up and he goes, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, fuck you, bitch. I'm trying to save these people. And Green Lantern luckily steps up, and he's like, you know what? I'm with Superman. I don't want to leave these guys out.
Which again, what the fuck? What the fuck? like a bunch of superheroes don't want to save people?
Yeah,
what?
and only Green Lantern and Superman are like, no, we need the help. Like, this is what we need to do. And Batman's like, no one goes near that ship. Leave it alone. And Green Lantern's like, but why? I can help. And he's like, just don't. And he goes, it's gonna be the end of all this if you go out there. And Green Lantern's like, dude, that is so cold. Like, what the fuck? He goes, I just don't get it. And then Wally's like, well, that's because you're a child who's wandered into a discussion for adults. And rightfully so, Kyle's like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like, Wally, you're like 3 years older than me. You were just Kid Flash. All right, Impulse, shut the fuck up. Like, be quiet. And then right as he calls him out, it's like incoming transmission. And Batman's like, it's the people coming up. And as he answers the comms, they're screaming for help. And now they look kind of worried. He goes, they're turning us into superheroes, so they're getting, as we learned earlier, when they're infected, they get powers. And then the ship starts speeding up and getting closer. And then Green Lantern's like, did you hear that? And you hear the ship it's coming in at full speed, about 5 seconds in, like life or death. And then it cuts to Tommy, who signed the wall with his Sharpie. Tommy was here, and he goes,
he's proud of his handiwork.
Yeah, and then as he signs it, the ship flies in and it crashes through, leaving Tommy in space for about a millisecond. And he's like, uh-oh. And then right as he says that, Green Lantern comes. the best Green Lantern comes and helps him, and he saves his life. And Tom's like, you know what, Green? Like, I always knew you were the best Green Lantern. Like, when people say, who's the best superhero, I always say it's you. You're the best. I love you.
He's just kissing his ass.
By the way, I love how Punisher calls Daredevil red, and Hitman calls Green Lantern green.
Green! Help me out, Green.
So as he's flying away with him, and he goes, oh, I like this too. He goes, and when people ask me who has the best origin, I let them know it's you. And he goes, yeah, well, I'm not the best hero. You're wrong about that. And they show Superman, and he is flying, as Superman does, head first into the disaster. He's going to try to save these people if no one else will. He's like, fuck these guys. I'm going to try to save these guys.
This
So he goes
is
in.
the most characteristic thing that any of the superheroes do is, yeah, this is absolutely what Superman would do.
And Superman grabs it. He puts the code in. The seal opens. And he's like, hello? Is anyone there? Anyone that can help? That I can help? And as he's walking in, Batman's pissed. He's like, this motherfucker. He ignored what I said. He shouldn't have gone out there. And then Flash is like, well, he'll do it anyway. Who cares? Like, it's Superman. It's what he's going to do. And then Hitman comes. He's like, what did I miss? And he's like, Batman's like, get out. You have no part in this. Green Lantern, get back outside. I want to see that vessel isolated. And which makes sense. So now we have to handle it. Now Batman's like, oh, now I want to fucking react instead of being proactive. And Green Lantern's like, all right. And then Flash is like, guys, I can't run fast. And Batman literally just goes, what? He's like, yeah. I know I can run fast, but my body's not letting me. And then Green Lantern grabs his ring to light it up, and he's like, I don't know if I want to tell you this. And Batman's like, oh my god, Wonder Woman. And he takes Hitman's weapons, and he throws it, and he goes, destroy these. And Hitman goes, hey! And then Wonder Woman grabs it, and she holds it, and she goes, I can't. And Batman has the best response. He's like, well, can't you just, like, hold it longer? And crush it? She's like, no, like, I can... I just like a human, like I can't I know I can crush it like a branch, but my brain's just not letting me. I can't do it. And Batman's like, oh my god. And then Hitman, rightfully so, is like, she's holding the gun wrong. And he's like, do you want to, set that down before you blast a hole in the window, please? So they're all figuring out now they're losing their powers. And he goes, we have to gain, again, they're going to try to gain access to the watchtower. And then he goes, did you lose your powers, Hitman? And he puts his glasses down. He looks at Wonder Woman's ass, and he goes, hey, I just realized my X-ray vision's gone. And Green Lantern goes, you sure? And he goes, yeah, I'm sure. And then he's looking out the window, and he's like, guys? And then they're just talking. They're like, guys, we got to do this. We got to do that. Batman's trying to get them together. And Hitman's like, hey, guys. And they're still just talking. And then he's like, hey, yo. Superman's out there, and you guys are losing your powers? What if Superman's losing his powers right now out there with no one to help him? What are we going to do? And that's how issue 1 ends. And I like how he's the only one that cares about. So him and Green Lantern are the only ones that care. So then, that goes right into issue 2 here. As we now see Clark Kent talking to Kirby, Mr. Kirby. And he's like, yeah, there's no mention of any of this stuff happening in the League's official history, Mr. Kent. He's like, yeah, well, there isn't gonna. And he names all this stuff that happened, like all these like very like damning things about the Justice League, and then just goes, I'm like kidding, right? I'm not being serious. Like, there's no conspiracies like that we're hiding. I just want to make sure I'm being straight up with you. He goes, but this is the official story, and this is where we see all the spacemen walking towards the watchtower, and they're like, fuck, the crew's coming back. And that's when Green Lantern's like, right, where's Superman, guys? And then Batman just goes, he'll have to look after himself. Oh my god, what a horrible friend Bruce is. And then Hitman is like the reader and is pissed. He's like, dude, he's out there alone without his powers. Do you remember no one has powers? They're not all like you. And he's like, listen, with or without them, there are a few people. He goes, with or without them, there are a few people more capable. And we have more problems of our own. Like, dude, what? He just is leaving everyone behind. And then he goes, basically says, Monahan, get the hell out of here. You have no point in this. You're a prisoner, and when we're done here, we're sending you to GCPD, and you're going to jail for multiple murders. He's like, he basically says he literally says to him, you don't have to be such a dick, dude. And then the level unlocks for the door. And Batman's like, wasn't there a code? And they're like, they didn't use the code. The door just like opened for them almost, and there's no TV footage, CCTV, to see how they did it. And then Batman's like, well, the elevator's on its way up. What do we do, guys? We gotta prepare ourselves, I guess. And Green Lantern's like, well, we don't have any powers. Do we just have to, like, fight with our hands? And then Wonder Woman's like, well, has anyone thought about what's under the suits? Like, what's coming to get us? And then as they're trying to figure out this plan, they show Tommy. He's loading his guns up and he's whistling, just having a grand old time, just not worrying right now. And the door opens. And they're like, well, this is it, guys. And they open up. You see the NASA soldiers. And then Batman tells them to show themselves. And, bro, tell me this isn't the fucking creatures from Invincible. Do you know what I'm talking about? The ones from the,
Yeah,
like the squid villains? They look identical, bro. Here, look at this. I'm going to show this to you. You probably remember, but tell me this isn't the same fucking thing.
right, but this came before that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I wonder if, like, that kind of, like, pulled from that. Because it's identical, bro. So
you know what's crazy to me is that when the astronaut like pulls off his helmet and reveals that the squid's on his face, tell me that doesn't look like Homelander.
Yo, it does.
Like the way that which by the way, John McCrea is also the guy that drew The Boys.
Boys, yeah.
With Garth Ennis. He's the same artist.
Yeah, dude. Holy shit. I didn't even put that together.
So,
he does look like that.
I don't think it's intentional. I just think it looks kind of like Homelander.
Now, this is where my favorite part of this entire story happens, dude. So they go to pick up one of the weird alien things from the ground, or from like the little, like, they're holding like a cooler full of them.
Sure.
And Tommy goes, oh, no prizes for guessing who those are for. Blam, blam. He just starts shooting at them, blowing their heads off. And Batman's like, yo, Tommy, what are you doing? He's like, those are people under there. Hold your fire. And Tommy's like, what are you talking about? Hold the fire. They're going to come and kill us. What are you talking about? And then they shoot lasers out of their eyes. And Flash is like, how the hell did they get powers? They're turning into superheroes. And all the heroes in the room are like, we got to get out of here. They're between us in the elevator. And Batman's like, mother, if you fire those guns one more time, and then he cuts them off, he goes, relax, they're set to stun. And he starts shooting them in the legs, and they're bleeding out from their legs. So the heroes run out at that point, and they go hand-to-hand combat, beating these guys up. And then as they're beating them up, Green hits one of them with a chair. And Tommy goes, old school Green, like cheering him on. He's like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, how did I end up here? So Batman's fighting one, he's not paying attention, and he gets jumped by one from behind. And they're able to knock him out. This is where they find out maybe someone's using some sort of, like, telepathy to, like, block their powers out. And that's when Green Lantern's like, fuck, man, the one dude that's, like, used to not having powers, of course he gets knocked out. And they look over at him, and he has one of those weird creatures stuck on his head. And they cut back, and Tommy's just shooting the barrel of the fucking aliens with his gun, like, over and over again. And they're like, well, what do we do? And they take them out, and they start, like, shooting from their hands. And you see Tommy, he's shooting his gun back. Like, he's just blasting away, dude. And I love that. He's just, like, he's the hero of this fucking story. They go into this room, and he's like, don't even worry about the doors closing. Like, it's not going to be enough time. And then we find out Wonder Woman takes the belt, and she looks over at Tommy. She goes, charges. It has plastic and phosphorus. And Tommy goes, throw it. So she throws it in the air. He shoots it. A perfect shot. Explodes it. Just obliterating these guys to, like, ash. And then they're trying to take it off. They're trying to take it off Batman's head. And Green Lantern goes, ew, I touched it. And he goes, chill, Green. He goes, so what are we going to do about him anyways? And they go, well, he's alive, so we kind of just have to leave it. We don't want to, like, mess with it. We don't know where it attaches. And then the thing starts talking. It says, kill both. 1 dies, 2 dies. And they're like, oh my god, the thing talks? So then they're trying to figure out what to do. She's come up with a plan. She's like, all right, we got to retreat to the Watchtower's lowest sub-level and learn what we can from this thing, because it's obviously talking. So let's figure out what's going on. As she's giving the ideas, all the guys are thinking, and you see Tommy lighting up another cigarette. And then he looks at the Flash and goes, are we there yet? And then Flash goes, what? And he goes, are we there yet? Flash is like, what are you talking about? And Hitman goes, oh, I was thinking, like, when you were a kid, you must have driven your folks crazy with that joke. It's like, bro. Because I forget he thinks he had the power since he was born.
Yeah.
So they get to the basement, and he goes, where are we? And he goes, Flash goes, under Aquaman's tank. And then they're waiting for this thing to start talking, and Tommy's like, do we just, like, go around and, like, feed him? Like, what do we do with this thing? Is it alive? And it keeps going, kill one. He goes, kill both. One dies. And Tommy stops him and goes, we get it. We heard you the first time. And he pulls his gun out and sticks it to Batman's forehead with the creature. He goes, what if I just, like, maybe just shot a part off of it? Like, just this bit here where it meets your big floppy sack thing. And Green Lantern's like, dude, doesn't this kind of, like, bother you? This is, like, torture to Batman. And he's like, well, he doesn't mean it. He's like, well, yeah, he does. Like, he's an evil creature. He's torturing it. And then it's just, oh my God. Flash is such a douche. And as Tommy's holding the gun to Batman's head still, Wonder Woman's just kind of like watching over him. And then Green Lantern's trying to talk sense in the Flash here about everything going on. And how, like, we need to have Tommy to help. And he's just not having it at all. And as he's arguing with the Flash, this deep argument, Tommy just he shoots the thing on Batman's head. And Wonder Woman's like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't tell you to do that. He goes, you don't tell me what to do. I'm not a part of the team. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, the fuck? And then it starts talking again. Like, now the creature's bleeding. And he says, like, no more, no more. And this is where Wonder Woman takes control. So Tommy just sits down, pops another cigarette in his mouth. He's like, all right. It's been 2 hours since we heard from Superman. Like, guys, what is wrong with him? We need to figure out. Like, you don't think maybe he's in trouble or, like, maybe not dead? And then Flash is like, oh, we got to stay down here and wait it out. And Green Lantern's like, yo, they're going to nuke us. Like, the government is going to nuke us if we don't do something about this. We can't just hide out down here. And he goes, hey, Mr. Yakamoto, check out that big shiny aeroplane up there. It's like, what? Bro. This is where they're learning about this species here and kind of like what they do. It kind of puts the person in a coma, so they're not coherent while being controlled by this thing. So this actually I like. This is where they found out about the telepathy. They're like, something must be blocking our minds from knowing we have powers to use them. So we need to stop whatever that is, so we can at least get our powers back and reach out to the government and hopefully find a solution to this. So that's what Tommy's like. Well, maybe we should tie up Batman because if he wakes up, that's not going to be good. So they tie him up, and then Green Lantern asks him, all right, like, Tommy, what do we do next? He's like, I don't know. She's running the ship here. I don't know. And he points out Wonder Woman. And this is where Wonder Woman has a plan, and she says, you know, me and Tommy are going to go up. You guys stay here with Batman. Keep an eye on him. And me and Tommy are going to go up and look into this. And he's like, just you two? And she drops the line again. We're trained warriors. Without your powers, she goes, without your powers, you are more hindrance than help. I'm like, what? Okay. And then he goes, hey, didn't you see old Ring there? He calls him Ring Stinger. He goes, you didn't see him, like, knocking dudes out? He's a good help. He's hyping up Green Lantern. And Green Lantern's like, dude, by the way, it's Ring Slinger. He goes, didn't I say that? So they're going to be climbing up the elevator shaft here. And this is where I thought Wonder Woman was going to have a turnaround in her story. Because now she's kind of like trying to talk to Tommy as a person. And she just goes, she's moving too fast. He's like, can you slow down a little? Like, I'm trying to keep up with you. And she goes, cigarettes. Where did you, like, learn your craft? And he's like, well, I've been in the Marines. I had to learn. And she goes, and this is what you decided to do after the Marines? He's like, all I did in the Marines was kill people. What else?
I just want to point this out. A fucking ladder from Snake Eater. Jesus Christ. Dude, it goes on forever.
Forever, bro.
I've got the Snake Eater Metal Gear theme song playing in my head as Wonder Woman is climbing. she's still in a dream. Snake Eater. Like, it's ridiculous, this ladder.
So she asks him, she's like, you were a Marine. This is how you choose to live your life? And he tells her, like, but I love this, dude, this angle of him looking up at her. They make her butt very large in this camera angle of her, like, climbing up the ladder.
They certainly do.
And he goes, listen, they teach you guns, bombs, and slitting throats. What am I going to be, like a cab driver after I get out? Like, no, I'm going to put that to use. And she goes, it seems like a cold, dark, grim thing. And as he's looking at her ass, you see the reflection in his sunglasses. He goes, it has its moments. Like, yo, a man of culture. So as she's climbing, you see these creatures. They come down the ladder. They attack Wonder Woman. And he pulls his gun out, and he's like, I can't get a clear shot on it. And she goes, listen to me. I can't fight these off. They're taking me over. Just keep going for me and keep fighting. Don't give up. And I'm like, oh, wow, Wonder Woman actually said a Wonder Woman thing. Cool.
Shocking.
She's like believing in him. She thinks he can do it. She trusts him more than anyone else in the Justice League to save them. And then he just looks back as she plummets to the ground. And he just goes, gutsy broad. So he gets up to level 30. And he goes, thank God. And as he gets up there, he sees Superman. And Superman is captured by one of these creatures. There's a long page of text here. All they're talking about is how they're discovered that there are some sort of creatures that have taken over the NASA probe. And now, as they guessed, NASA wants to just bomb wherever they are because now it's going to become like a national threat to wherever they are. If they come to Earth, it's going to be end of the world. We can't have another situation again. So they're thinking of sending nukes up to the watchtower. So we cut back to Tommy, and he's like, holy shit. And Superman immediately starts shooting laser eyes at him. And he goes, oh my God. So as he's trying not to hurt Superman because it's Superman, and he lasers his jacket all up. And he's shooting at Superman, and he's shooting at his chest, and he's like, come on, like, you gotta be in there, Superman, please, like, snap out of this. And he shoots him in the hand a bunch of times, and he screams, you are Superman. Like, snap out of this. And Superman starts fighting back, and he just rips the thing out of his throat. There's blood coming out of his throat. It's kind of gory, actually, when you look at it.
Kind of, yeah.
And he drops to the ground, and as he throws the creature down, Hitman, he starts blasting away at this thing. It just shoots it to shreds, and he drops down. And they both just lay on the ground, and he goes, oh, God above. Jesus, that was close. And Superman's kind of recouping now. That kind of, like, fucked him up. He's like... he also doesn't have a sun in front of him to heal up, so he's, like, shaky, he's sweating. He's like, it's going to take a minute for me to get back up and get ready. And he goes, hey, I don't think those things were supposed to come off that way. I think if anyone else did that, they'd die, but it's you, so you're still here. And he goes, it told the others what it was doing. He goes, it was telepathy or something like it. So we confirmed that's what it was. And he tells him, listen, Batman's knocked out. Everyone's downstairs. Who knows if Wonder Woman's dead? Don't know what's going on. He goes, Flash and Green are useless right now. The astronauts all got turned into super guys. And one of them could switch your powers off just by thinking about it. And he's loading his gun up, making sure he's got enough ammo in there. He goes, so am I supposed to, like, hit the control room and call for help? Because, like, I'm not sure what to do. I think the U.S. government's going to nuke us. And Superman's like, his face is like, fucking hell. Like, what is happening? And he goes, I can barely, like, keep my eyes open. Like, I want to help, but I can't. He goes, it took all the energy out of me. I can't get up. And he goes, come on, man. Knock it off. Like, joking, like, you're fucking around. He goes, hey, by the way, you relax there. I got to go. He goes, you can just follow me whenever you can. See ya. So then he walks away, and Superman stops him. He goes, why didn't you tell me you were in Gotham? He goes, everything you said about me, about the country, and you're from Gotham as, like, a killer? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, I think I told you. You can't help what people are going to believe and believe about you, something like that. And he goes, and I guess you can't help who's going to believe in you either. Kind of like, you know, it's going to be the unlikely people that believe in your message, Superman. Which I kind of like that, you know? It's like that, like what we mentioned, Punisher and Captain America. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a mutual respect.
Exactly. So this is cool. He gets his little moment here. And he looks around the door. And you see that there's a missile coming in, 12 mile or incoming. And he goes, well, I'm all out of ideas. So he turns the corner and he just starts shooting everyone in the head. Just blam, 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 blam. Their heads are exploding. He shoots again, shooting their bodies apart. They're shooting fire at him. And he's shooting back just right into their ears, killing them. They're throwing down like these weird, like their arms are like morphing into these creatures. Their heads are just turning into nothing. He's just killing every single one. And he shoots a bunch in the head, and that's when the guys are like, "Holy shit, we're getting our powers back." And then, as one of the creatures is crawling away, he puts his foot on it, and he goes, "Where you going?" And he pulls his gun out. He goes, "You little pathetic." He goes, "You little pukes." All telepathic, right? So tell your pals to get the hell off, Bat Boy. And as he does it, he shoots behind him at one that tries to jump on him. He goes, "And anyone else they got? Or I do all this all." He goes, "And tell them all I do this all day." And then he kills it again. And as he's killing it, Flash runs in at full speed. And he's like, Monahan, what the fuck did you do here? And it's just bodies everywhere. He goes, and it cuts back. He goes, what do you mean murder? That's like the, what do you mean murder? You seen that video?
Yeah,
he was a great
he was
guy.
The best guy around.
What about all the people he murdered?
Murder?
What murder? That's literally Superman in this book. That's literally the concept of this book. He goes, what do you mean murder? And Batman's like, you just killed a dozen NASA personnel, all of whom died at your hand. He goes, yeah, and I'm pretty sure I just saved your guys' asses, so you're welcome. Like, if I didn't do that, you guys would still be downstairs in the basement, dead for all that's worth. And Batman's like, no, you killed them. He's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So he goes, you know what? You're going to take me to court? This is unbelievable. And Superman's like, Batman, like, honestly, like, he kind of did help us. And then Wonder Woman's like, do you think you found redemption by your actions here? And he's like, well, and this is where Green Lantern's like, well, dude, I guess you got to kind of see things from their point of view. Like, the legal perspective of this now that they have to clean up. It's a little messy. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. He puts his hands out. He's like, just take me in. I don't give a shit. Like, I just saved you guys. You guys are ungrateful. So Batman just puts the cuffs on him. But honestly, you see Green Lantern looking upset. He can see both sides of this. You know, like now he sees what he did and he respects what he did to help them. But now there's like the legal side they have to kind of maneuver with the government. Because now he has to be a part of that. So he's upset that Monahan's kind of getting punished for this. And they show Superman. He does not look happy that he's being taken away. He understands why he did what he did. Mm-hmm. So, or at least that's how I took it. So then we see Batman drive away as Tommy's in the GCPD vehicle. And you hear the cops go, oh man, they took your smokes? And he goes, yep. He goes, and they call themselves the Justice League. And the cop hands a pack of smokes to him. And he goes, you boys asked for this one special? And the cop goes, you know we did. And he lights up his lighter to light up Tommy's cigarette. He goes, we'll just drop you off at Noonan's and we'll just leave you on with your night. And he goes, sounds good, thanks. I think I can go for a drink now. And guys, don't even worry about rushing. We got some time until it's closing time there. And he's smoking his cigarette in the car. So then we cut back to Clark here talking to Mr. Kirby. And he's like, well, I see why you didn't go any further with this. What happened with the surviving creatures? He goes, they were kept on ice. They were kept safely away. And he goes, wait a minute. You're saying this has been kept under wraps by the government? How the hell has it been kept under the wraps by the government? And what's to stop the League from doing anything about it? He goes, it's an understanding that we arrived at. It's all brushed under the table. You know, like, it happened. It happened for the better, you know? And this is where we find out. He goes, do you remember why we began this story, or why I'm even telling you all this? And spoiler, this is where the big spoiler happens. I did not know this. So he goes, there are things about Superman. He goes, and this is where Superman, I respect this about Superman. He goes, there are things a superhero can't do. He goes, listen, Batman would have, like, found a way around this by, you know, finding some sort of thing to send them to save everyone. And Wonder Woman would have done something to neutralize them. The Flash would have, like, ran really fast and got them out. He goes, but the hero in the story was someone that was just, like, a normal person, basically, who had some powers, but he's basically just a normal person who doesn't have anything special and went up there and got the job done. He did what I would be considered the unthinkable, but it saved the day. And he goes, and that's the story of how Tommy saved the Justice League. He goes, you're talking about moral courage? He goes, I'm talking about sheer, unadulterated, unimaginable moral courage. Like, he stood for everything he said to me. And he goes, it's 1945, you're Happy Truman. Do you drop the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, or do you drown the home of the United States Marines? He goes, I can't answer that. No one. He goes, no one can answer that. And then he kind of basically is like, only someone like Tommy can answer that question. And then this is where we find out that Tommy died 6 years ago. And this is what Superman remembers of Hitman after he's passed away. It was a bad dealings, shootout. Tommy passed away in Hitman number 60, it says here. And he goes, I just wanted you to know the story about Tommy and how he saved and have it on record of how he saved the Justice League. He did what no other person could. And this was cool. He goes, the drunk I met in Gotham, Hacken, this is one of the friends from the bar. He goes, he told me superheroes were a joke in Noonan's bar. Idiots in underwear. You know the sort of thing. And Monahan agreed, except for one superhero. And as we find out, he only liked one of them, and it was Superman. No matter how goofy he saw superheroes, how much he hated superheroes, Superman saw life as a half glass full, and Tommy liked that about Superman. He wasn't fake. He wasn't phony. He was a real guy. And then he said, Superman's okay by me. And then the book ends actually with a pretty, like, heartwarming thing. Superman flies across Metropolis. He takes a deep breath. He goes into space. After all the cleanup from the situation of the Watchtower, he asked the U.S. government to keep one portion of the Watchtower. And he goes to visit the one portion of the Watchtower, and what it is the part of the bathroom where Tommy wrote, Tommy was here with the Sharpie. And he goes to pay his respects to Tommy. I was like, that was a good ending. You know what I mean? It was wholesome, I think. And there's a little message here at the end. It goes, thanks to Ennis, McCrea, and Tomasi for this trip down memory lane with Hitman and the JLA. So this was like the end cap. This is the final thing for Hitman. So if you read that collection, this is where it ends for him. And that was JLA Hitman. What did you think? Hopefully I did justice with the explanation.
I think it's a mixed bag.
It is.
That's the simplest word I can use for it. I think it's a mixed bag.
Pros.
There's some pros, I would say Tommy for sure, Hitman.
Yes.
He's the star of the book, but I mean, I think that was Garth's intention, was to have him as the star of the book, because that's Garth's creation.
Yes.
So of course he's gonna, you know what I mean, have him as the front and center character. John McCrea's art, in some cases, actually, I would give it a pro.
Yes, I will say
like
the last couple pages, there was some messy panels. I was like, he's probably like, I'm at the end of this book. I need to get this shit done. Like Superman, when he's standing at the Tommy wall, he looks a little funky.
A little bit, but I like the way that he draws. Like I said, we touched on earlier. I like the way that he draws like the exteriors of Gotham.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. I like the way that he depicts it.
I agree. I agree.
The relationship between Tommy and Superman, I think that's a pro. I like that a lot. I think if the book was actually just about Tommy and Superman's relationship, I think I would have liked that a hell of a lot more than what we would have got.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, which leads me to my cons.
Yes.
This whole storyline, like they're on a spaceship and they get attacked by like these bloodline creatures. So just, I don't know, not interesting to me. It's it's just very not interesting to me at all.
Yeah.
Very out of character for a lot of these characters, like Flash and Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. Like, yeah, Batman has a very strong moral code. I get it.
Yeah. And I think of that, even Green Lantern,
to a degree.
I feel like Green Lantern still had some more, like he was still in Tommy's corner for a lot of it too, I would say.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, to a degree, like it's not as if Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Flash don't have a moral code. They do.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it's as strong as Batman's is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the point where like now everyone has to conform to like Batman's moral code. It's
and
like
I feel like
that's how it works.
And the thing is, when I was reading this too, Green Lantern was kind of like saying that. He was like, guys, well, like I don't really care if he kills people. Like there was an issue that needed to be dealt with, and I needed help, and he helped me, and that's why we teamed up. You know what I mean? Like he was willing to help. Like I didn't care what he did. You know.
Another con, Wonder Woman and Flash are fucking pricks.
Yeah,
they're fucking assholes. These whole
bags.
2 issues, which is very strange.
Yes.
Very, very weird. Makes me not like them. And I don't like saying that because they're both characters that I like.
Yeah. If anyone should have understood
like.
Superman, it should have been Wonder Woman. If anyone should have understood Superman. It blows my mind. And the fact that none of them, after everything Superman's done, from all these crises, all the things he's done for them, they don't try to help him. That's insane to me. Why would you want to let Superman, of all people, go out there alone and possibly die? You know what I mean? Like, of all people. Superman.
If I had to rate this out of 5, I'd give it like a 2.5.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think it's
nice
I
middle.
think it's an okay read. It's a solid read. It's not something that I would revisit, to be honest with you. And it's something that I think would have been a lot better if it wasn't for like this storyline that traps them like in a spaceship.
Yeah.
It feels very boring to me. Like it doesn't feel very dynamic. I don't know what it is.
I feel like this book was very wordy too. That's a Garth Ennis issue that he carries into the boys. It's very wordy in this.
Oh my god, that one panel where it's like that exterior shot of outer space and there's like fucking 10 text panels.
Yeah,
so where does this
very
come from?
wordy. And it's like to convey like a very simple idea. It's like, what the hell?
I think I would have liked this a lot better if it was actually set in Gotham.
Yes, if they were trying to attack Gotham or something like that.
And it was, again, Garth, you know what Garth excels at is like the street level stuff.
Yeah.
He excels at that. So if you just would have kept this like a street level JSA Hitman crossover,
yeah,
we're probably looking at a 3.5 instead of like a 2.5. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hate it. I don't know if I necessarily liked it either. I thought it was okay. And it's not something that I'll revisit.
I liked Hitman.
I think, yeah.
That's where. So I feel the same way. I didn't hate the book, but it's also not like, oh yeah, you got to read it. You know what I mean? But it does. If you haven't read Hitman, obviously you maybe shouldn't start at the end. But but it does give a good view of his character, and he is like the most entertaining part of this entire book.
So funny enough, yeah. This was my first time reading Hitman anything, and like after this, I'm like, yeah, I would actually love to read, like the solo ongoing Hitman series.
Yep.
Because this gave me enough autonomy where I was like, this is fun. Like, I think I would enjoy reading like a Hitman series.
Yeah, same here. So I'm probably gonna dive into that trade paperback when I can. Because I feel like you said, he excels at like the street level stuff, and that's all Hitman is. So like, I think that's why I've heard a lot of people talk about it.
And
so
I mean,
I think that's
like
why
I said,
it was so successful.
You can tell that Garth doesn't like writing superheroes. You can tell that this was editorial being like, oh, please, Garth, just try it. Just give it a shot. Like, just try it. And hey, look, we'll even let you write Hitman.
Yeah.
We'll even let you write Hitman if you want to.
I will say, like, though, fuck. I would want to check out Hitman 11 and 12 where he's teaming up with Green Lantern. I would read that. Yeah, because I love his banter with Green Lantern. Like, he loves Green Lantern, and he's like his hype man, and Green Lantern's like, oh my god. Of all people to like me, Jesus Christ. He's like it's like the annoying brother or something, you know?
Yeah.
I like that concept. I think that's cool. So yeah, I definitely gonna check Hitman out after. Like I said, JLA Hitman, not a must read. Well, I guess if you're reading Hitman, it is like the end cap to it, so it's the finale to Hitman almost.
It's a very average, middle of the pack kind of read for me.
Yeah. So it wasn't life changing, but definitely a fun thing to review, I think, and discuss, because it was fun to discuss some Ennis-isms and all that in this, you know.
You're not gonna hate yourself for reading it, but you're not also gonna be like, "Oh, this was like good. I'll reread this like a year from now."
Yeah,
it's far from it.
Oh, and we're gonna be reading something fun next month too. As just a teaser, we'll be jumping into the Amalgam universe, so that's something to look forward to. And on the next issue, we will be talking about our top 5 comic recommendations. Don't think this book will be on our list, but nonetheless, we will talk about books that we do love and that we do recommend. Look out for that. And until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.